Looking nice and bright in his red shirt, and we've got Wasim Akram now joining us, looking as natty as never, joining us live from Islamabad. But before I get to my two guests, let me just set some sort of context here. All of you must have watched India-Pakistan games starting in the World Cup, starting from 1992, and we've got a few stats which is to highlight how one-sided, how lopsided this battle has been so far. So those are the 7 times that they've met in the ODI World Cup. That's the 50-over World Cup, and the record stands at 7-0 in favor of India. Let's now take a look at what happened in the T20 World Cup. The first time these two teams played in the T20 World Cup, it was in 2007. That stands at 5-0. Overall, as you saw in the graphic before, it stood at 12-0 in all World Cup encounters. Why are we calling it one of the most one-sided battles at World Cup? That's because no other team seems to be holding the wood over the other team like India has done with Pakistan. Here's a look at that. Now, here are records of some teams versus a few other teams. Take a look at that. India-Pakistan at 12-0. The next best is Australia-Bangladesh. Remember, these are also stats from when Bangladesh was not really a test-playing country. And even when they were drafted into test cricket, they weren't really a very strong side that we see now. So that's another lopsided contest. But still, there is no rivalry which even comes close to 10-0. It stands at 12-0 in India's favor. Okay, let me now bring my two guests in. I'll start with Harbhajan Singh, who's as vocal as ever. Bajupa, what do you think? Is it going to be 13-0 or is it going to be 12-1?
Well, I think it's going to be 13-0. We're going to win the game against Pakistan. That's what I believe. Totally on the basis of the how good team we have, and purely on this cricketing aspect that they are playing better cricket than any of them. They are playing in the World Cup, and they have played just now recently in the IPL, and everybody are kind of used to the conditions in Dubai. I'm sure they're going to come good, and we're going to make it 13-0.
0, says Harbhajan Singh. Let me now bring our Pakistan guest in, Wasim Akram. Wasim bhai, as partisan as I was at the beginning of the show, highlighting stats that favor India, let me also highlight some stats that favor Pakistan as well. I was taking a look at how well they've done in the Middle East. UAE is sort of home for them. 11 matches, they haven't lost at the UAE cricket grounds wherever they've played. Keeping that in mind, do you think this Pakistan side, they also go in with one of the best win-loss ratios across teams in T20 cricket? Keeping all this in mind, do you think this Pakistan team has it in them to break that duck in World Cups versus India?
Look, every game is important in this World Cup. Of course, India-Pakistan game is the mother of all games, clash of the titans, whichever you call it. But it's any other game for the World Cup. Every game is important, as we know in Group B or Group 2. We've seen Scotland qualifying. We've seen Namibia qualifying from that group. And yes, World Cup stats are not that great of Pakistan against India. But again, those stats are really, I suppose, interesting for us ex-players or the viewers. But in general, when a player, if you ask Harbhajan or anyone else, as a player, when you play against India or same vice versa, Indian playing against Pakistan, they don't go into those details. It's a new game, it's a new tournament, and of course, like you said, that Pakistan are used to the conditions. They played almost 10 years in UAE. But again, India is one of the favorites to win the World Cup, sure. Their team is good enough. They have good enough batting. And of course, their bowling, they have one of the best bowlers in the T20 format or in world cricket. Bumrah is there as well. And so is Pakistan. We have Shaheen. Pakistan got Shaheen, who's the highest wicket taker. I mean, there's a very weird stat. The highest wicket taker with the new ball in the first over. I think he's got 21 first over kind of wickets so far in his career. So yeah, it'll be a kind of even contest. That's the beauty of Indo-Pak game. Doesn't matter which team is favorite. The pressure, the tension is so much before the game that, any team that will win that particular day, that's tomorrow, obviously, we've got to be mentally and physically tougher than the opposition.
All right.